school, Jonathan Barresi has been an important figure for the past 15 years.
I enjoy being able to be on the sidelines of a game, with the other assistant principals and the coaches and stuff, and just kind of seeing the students do their thing.
You may not know much about Mr. Barresi, but when you see him in the halls, you know you'll get a reaction. Whether it's a "hi, how are you?" or a nod of the head if he's busy speaking with someone. Mr. Barresi sat down to tell us a little bit more about his life.
I actually grew up in a few different places. I would say I spent the majority of my childhood in Rutherford, New Jersey, which is Bergen County. But my parents were divorced, and so I spent some time in some different places growing up.
Mr. Barresi graduated from Collegiate High School in Passaic, a small private school. He told us about his high school experience.
I tell students the story of my first freshman year that I had, and as soon as I say it like that, when I say first, people are like, wait a minute, why was there a second? Yes, I didn't have a traditional high school run, 4 years, and just kind of vanilla. I had a rough start, some things going on in my life, and here I am now, a principal of a high school, and so I try and use that story to inspire folks who may be making not the best decisions in life at any given time. It's, I'm kind of proof that you can turn on a dime and you can choose to take a different path. So after high school, I went to Rutgers University in Newark. I actually originally was a nursing major, changed my mind after my freshman year, and then switched and ultimately into mathematics. And mathematics education, and I graduated from Rutgers in Newark with it's actually a Bachelor's of Arts in Math, which is not that common. And then I did my graduate work at Kane University, but it was a satellite program at Ocean County College. And so that's where I got my Master's of Educational Administration.
He did not always want to be a teacher. Most of his family is in the medical field. Mr. Barresi worked as a telecommunications analyst before he got his teaching degree, but soon after started teaching at Brick Memorial in 2006. What made you become a principal?
I wanted to do more, and it's funny is that when you become, that's what I thought I wanted. And I wanted to have a greater sphere of influence, and be able to make changes and work with people to just constantly be improving. That's what life is all about. Right?
Mr. Elliott and Mrs. Fitzgerald shared with us their experience working alongside Mr. Barresi and now having him as a boss.
It's been fun. He's been really great. I really like his leadership. He was always kind of a more of a take charge guy. So it's been a very easy transition for me, and really appreciate him in that job.
He was a lot of fun as a coworker. He's an excellent boss. Being math-oriented, he's very organized and detail-oriented, and it's very easy to talk to him and to work for him. So not a whole lot different. Obviously, not as chummy as we were, but certainly still have that same, have a lot of fun working with him, but certainly a lot of respect for him as well. I know where he came from.
Did you go from teaching right to being a principal, or was there anything in between that you did?
I was advisor for the class of 2011. I then, in 2012, I was teacher that school year, the 11-12 school year. And then that summer I became a district technology coach. And there was some administrative changes that happened higher level at that time. And so I actually only served in that role for about 3 months before I was moved into a position as district test coordinator, which was a central office administrative role somewhat. And I was there for 2 years and then became an assistant principal at Brick Township High School for 2 years. And then I became an assistant principal here for 1.5 years. then I became a principal at Veterans Elementary School, where I was at for a year and a half, and now I'm back here. So it's been a long, I keep coming back home, which is great.
Teachers in Brick Memorial shared with us their favorite memories with Mr. Barresi.
My favorite memory with Mr. Barresi would have to be the time we spent in graduate school together.
So something that I would probably guess a lot of people don't know is before Mr. Barresi was our principal, he actually taught in the mathematics department. And many, many years ago, we actually taught a 9th grade class together. He was my partner teacher where we taught a computer research and writing / problem solving class. So for us, we were partners for actually 4 years where his students would learn problem solving skills with him and language arts with me. And I remember that sometimes if we would have kids that would be like too chatty or out of control, we would just like swap our kids just so we could get a break from them. So that's probably an experience that not many other teachers share with him.
You know what? At one point, we got together and took our kids out to a concert and had a really good time at a concert.
Mr. Barresi was the co-advisor for a class along with Miss Paskanka many years ago. I can't remember exactly what class it was, but he was in charge of the junior prom and senior ball, and we attended. A lot of the math teachers were able to attend both of those, and we had a great time, and he just was a lot of fun.
What's your favorite memory when you were teaching at Memorial?
The thing that immediately popped into my mind was when I participated in the Memorial's Next Top Teacher contest, and it was along the lines of doing things with the students.
So for one afternoon, I don't want to live on the moon. I like to travel under the sea. I can eat all the fish everywhere. Yes, I travel under the sea.
I was teaching pre-calculus honors at that time, and just had a group of kids that was very interested in helping support me to put the best performance out there for that particular competition, which is very silly. But it was a memorable experience for sure, and a lot of fun. And the most fun part was that when I won, it wasn't about me. All the kids in that class, got to bum rush the stage with me, and there's definitely video of that somewhere. And there's like balloons and confetti and stuff. So it was just a lot of fun with that class.
And you also participated in a talent show. Can you tell me about that?
A few talent shows, as a matter of fact, with some other teachers in the building. It started. There's two that I can remember. The first one was it was mostly all faculty group, Mr. Bettis, Mr. Bloom, and myself, and then there was a student who played bass, and we played Enter Sandman. I don't remember how that came about. I think I just, I knew that Mr. Bloom had played, and Mr. Bettis obviously sings, and so we just tried to piece it together, and we had some fun with that. And then a few years later, I played the students were all the musicians. It's just some kids that I had in my pre-cal classes or my computer programming classes that were also, I knew were on the drum line, and so I knew that they were musical that way, and then they also said, well, they play guitar and stuff, and so we did did a cover of a Pearl Jam song. So we had a lot of fun doing that.
Mr. Bloom reflects back on his experience in the talent show.
It was pretty awesome. We had 2 of my students playing bass and guitar. Mr. Barresi played guitar, I played drums, and then Mr. Bettis sang for us. And we performed Enter Sandman by Metallica. And we had 1 full rehearsal session, so we practiced it probably 2 or 3 times, and then we just went on stage and performed. And everybody was shocked at Mr. Barresi, because at one point I think he was down on his knees playing a guitar solo. I think he jumped up in the air, and I think everybody was a little bit surprised, because Mr. Barresi is very particular, very kind of measured guy in general. So I think people were surprised to see him cut loose and rock out the way he did. So we got a good reception. I think we got 1,000 views on YouTube, and it was pretty fun.
I had the opportunity to sit down with math teacher Mr. Elliott, a colleague of Mr. Barresi's.
Mr. Barresi and I met when he first started teaching here at Brick Memorial. I had been teaching for a few years, and then he joined the math department a couple of years behind me. Working with him was great. He had a lot of energy in the classroom. You know, we worked next door for several years, and I could always hear what was going on in his classroom. He had a lot of energy, a lot of good vibes going out whenever he was teaching. So it was good working next to him. Very positive environment.
Mr. Elliott tells us about a funny experience they had together.
Only one jumping to mind. One time we were painting houses, and I had my ladder up. It was a little too steep, and the bottom of it started to fall out, and it started sliding down the house. I'm carrying a can of paint and my paintbrush, and so falls down. Fortunately, it wasn't going very fast. I ended up going all the way down to the ground. I'm in a big stack of bushes with my hand completely inside of my paint can. Mr. Barresi was on the other side of the house, painting on the other side, and he just comes running around the other side. And I don't exactly remember what his exclamation was, but that was something. We had a good laugh about that one for a while.
He shared with us something we may not know about Mr. Barresi.
He is a big fan of some heavy metal bands. Really likes Avenged Sevenfold, Disturbed. I wouldn't know it necessarily to look at him. Big fan of some of those bigger rock bands. 311, I think, might be his favorite.
Mr. Elliott shares his opinion on the best thing Mr. Barresi has done for Brick Memorial.
Honestly, leading us through the nonsense that has been these last 2 years couldn't have been easy for him stepping into that job. And he's given us a lot of guidance, a lot of direction, and done the best that I think anybody could have to get us through the challenges of the past couple of years.
How do you feel about having a school and being a principal throughout this pandemic?
Been the greatest challenge of my life, I'll say that. As a principal, you're always on call. And that's something you learn pretty quickly when you're in the role. And it's something that you signed up for when you take the job. But by and large, in a normal school year, in a normal school environment, thankfully, in great institutions such as this one, things don't often, there's not often crises that are calling upon you, day and night kind of thing. There's new challenges every day, but the on-call component, like a doctor would be on call, is not so prevalent. In COVID-19, that has been the challenging part. Is that seems to always be something that needs attention, and you really have just had to be available at all times, day and night, weekends, Christmas morning, you name it. So that's been my experience, and whatever I have to do for the school community, I'm here to do it.
Mr. Barresi has certainly left his mark in our school, district, and in our community. It has been an honor to work on this assignment and get to know Mr. Barresi better.